Well, we've just arrived at Manchester Airport. Our flight is on time, so we've just got time for a little bit of breakfast, and we should be at the venue by mid-afternoon.
Welcome you to Alicante, where the local time is approaching 11 o'clock in the morning.
Well, we've landed on time, but we've got a drive now of about an hour and 40 minutes. We're going to go straight to the venue. There are some of the lads fishing, so I'm just going to go and get the hire car. Finally arrived. We didn't get any hold-ups. It's taken an hour and 40 minutes and we've come straight to the venue. Just there is Mark Morris, and he's the man, or one of the lads, that's driven the van over with all our tattle. They're busy fishing now. They've caught a few fish already, so my next task is really just to get all my kit out of the van, which is there. That's had 10 lots of gear in it, so I'm gonna get my gear out of there, put it in my car, and then it's ready for me to go and prep it and stuff. And then we're going to have a run up to the tackle shop. That reopens again at 5 o'clock. That is the tackle shop. That's the organisers that are running this competition. That's their shop. So we're going to head up there. But I'm going to get this gear in my car, and then we're going to have a drive up to the tackle shop. And hopefully, whilst I'm doing all that, we might see a few fish caught. Jay's into one. This is Jay Minter. I think this is his second or his third. It's a big fish. It's a big fish, this one. He's not sure if it's foul hooked or not. He's on the end peg here, next to the bridge. But I know Mark's had some next to him as well. But they have lost fish, and it's just part and parcel of this event, unfortunately, and fishing this venue. You are going to lose fish. Whether they're all hooked properly or not, we don't know. But it's good to see a few fish feeding. Now, whilst we had the luxury of flying over to Spain, our tattle actually set off on Monday. Here we go, it's 10 to 8. It's Monday the 6th of March, and we're setting off from Grantham on leg 1 of the journey to the Iberian Masters. I've got a bit of kit, as you can see. Somehow we've got 10 blokes worth of kit in there, not a maggot between us, not allowed. Ploughing through the south of France on Monday morning. We are a couple of 100 kilometres from Marseille, not that we're going to Marseille, but next port of call is Avignon, and then Montpellier, and then into Spain. ETA at this moment in time is about 6 o'clock. Mark and Jay had done a great job taking our tattle over for us, which had made it so much easier for us, but the main thing was that they'd arrived safely. The casting mat again is doubling up as a great waterproof sheet to keep the upholstery clean. The last thing you want to be doing with hire cars is getting stuck with €50 valeting bills. So obviously this will be a casting mat whilst I'm actually fishing, but each morning I could just put this in here. It means that even if my gear's wet and muddy, I can still put it in the back of the car without causing any damage. Well, we're at the tackle shop. This is Quinta Pesca. There it is. You might have seen it on the film from last year. It's just opened. It opens at 5 o'clock. However, we have got to wear masks in there. So this is where I'm going to pay registration, get my fishing license as well, and then I'll be all ready to go for tomorrow morning. This is a little bit of a TARDIS, this tackle shop. This is Quinta Pesca, and it's just full of gear. There's all sorts here, so if there's any last minute things that you need, anything, I'm sure you could pretty much get it here. I've got all my baits sorted, I've paid on now, registered. Now I've got my official pass there. There's even one for Dad as well. I'm actually number 13, hopefully that's not an omen. So we're all sorted now. I've got my corn, worms and fresh bait I'm going to pick up at the hotel at 8 o'clock in the morning. So that is it. We've got pretty much everything we can now. I'm going to head back now to the hotel, go and get checked in. I'm just going to check my hook lengths and stuff, and just make sure I've got a good stock of those, and just do a few bits and bobs ready for tomorrow. So we'll be down having breakfast, we'll pick the bait up at 8 o'clock in the hotel, and then we'll be straight to the bankside. Sneaky peek at the bait. They boxed it up for me, which was great. So I've got some corn here. I can add to this if I need anything during the week. So I've got some corn there and tins of hemp. These are the only ones that were available. See the price on there as well, €6.50. And that is it. I can add to that if I want. The fresh bait will be delivered to the hotel at 8 o'clock each morning. And that is it. So that'll get me started for the next 2 days of practice. It had been a long day, so we headed back to the hotel where we were looking forward to a nice relaxing evening with some fantastic food, to catch up with some friends that we haven't seen since this competition last time, and for a good night's sleep, looking forward to the first day of training. Well, good afternoon everybody. We're here in Spain. It is Wednesday, which means we're right in the middle of training week for this weekend's Iberian Masters. We've got blue skies. When we got here this morning, we were literally fishing in our t-shirts. It was absolutely glorious, but as the day has gone on, it's gradually got windier, and the wind is absolutely freezing. So everybody's gone from just wearing t-shirts to almost having some of their winter gear on, and some people wishing they brought thermals with them. That's how cold it's got now, especially when you're not actually in that sunshine. We're down on the venue. You could probably just make out just there on the hillside is the name Culera, and that is where we are based. Okay, and over my shoulder just here, all the way around there, as far as the eyes can see, are oranges. Millions of them. We're down in the final sector today. We all decided to, well, we didn't all decide to fish here, we just all ended up here, and we've all ended up training together. So this is Mark Morris on the end peg here. Right the way up there, right the way to the top there, are pretty much all English anglers, just about, I think. So this is the final sector. Okay, the first sector is A, and then it runs right the way through down to here in E, and it's been a really interesting day. It's been the first training day for myself. Whilst I'm speaking to you, Mark's up to fish straight away. He's caught quite a few fish today. I don't know how many he's had, probably 6, I think, something like that. And there's a huge problem in this sector, and that is the weed, and I will be showing you that in a moment. Looks like that snagged him up, doesn't it? The weed here is terrible. It wasn't, you could probably make it out now. Obviously the water's clear so you can see that weed, but it does go out twice as far as that as well, and it's deep just there. So not only are you having to fish over the weed, but it actually goes down as well, so your line's going through that weed, and it's going to cause, you know, it's caused us quite a few problems today. Don't know if he's going to get that fish out. So this is going to be huge. We've already talked about how important every fish that gets hooked needs to be landed, and that is under normal circumstances when there isn't any weed. There's been lots and lots and lots of fish lost just through hook pulls. There are fish breaking people as well, but in this particular sector it's freed the fish, thankfully. But in this particular sector, this weed is going to give it an make it even harder. If we just go down to him now, you can see where it's stirring everything up on the bottom. You can see how clear the water is. You can see the fish coming through now. Looks like he's got him. These fish are fighting so hard, it's unbelievable. The first one I hooked today, I literally thought it was 3 times bigger than it actually was when I landed it. The wild carp. Looks like he's got that one. Well done, Mark. Well done, mate. So, it's all about carp. However, there are Carasio here, and there are definitely more Carasio than in previous years. Some people say it's because they've actually bred. We don't know. Myself today, I've actually had 5 Carasio and 3 carp. And I'm very pleased to say I haven't lost any carp either. I haven't lost any fish today. So, but to be fair, I haven't really fished to my strengths today. You know, usually on here you would expect to be casting across to that far bank, and everybody who's caught carp today, that is pretty much what they've done. Certainly here in this sector, I can't vouch for what's happened in other sectors. I've focused on other lines today because that's what training's all about, and I haven't caught enough to have won this zone or anything like that, but I've ended up with a respectable weight, and I've had a lot of more bites than people around me, with the exception to Rob on my left. I fished next to Rob Wotton today, and he's fished pretty much more like what you would fish the match like, and he got one, I think it was first cast, and this is just part of the tussle that he had with that first fish. You can probably hear him laughing. It's a real test. See how much weed there is down there. These are wild carp, really fight hard. He's laughing away, he is. You can see him but not get to him. Well done, mate. Oh, shuffle. Really difficult when you're so high off the water. Big fish. Well done, mate. Rob's gone on to catch quite a few today doing what he's been doing, so he's had a great day. But as the day's gone on, it's definitely got harder and harder. So it's we've got one more day tomorrow. That is Thursday. That will be the final day of training. All right, so what I will be doing tomorrow is, I think what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to try and focus on the short line. When I've fished this short line before, it's been very hit and miss. So I either haven't caught on it, or when I have caught on it, I haven't caught loads of fish on it ever, but sometimes when you do catch on it, there can be the biggest fish, and that's something that I want to target tomorrow. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do that. And I might even have a go for Carasio tomorrow, just to see how many you can actually catch fishing for them. Maybe find down a little bit. And that's my own personal thing. Obviously, you know, this is an individual competition, so the ultimate tactics and things will just come from me anyway. But if I just swing round now, we're down at the other end now, going down towards the end, and they are all, pretty much all English anglers all the way down there. And there were quite a few fish caught earlier. I saw quite a few landing nets going out, but since then I'm not really sure. It looks like even down there it's gradually got worse and worse as the day's gone on. So we'll all be sat around the same dining table tonight in the hotel, so no doubt we'll all be finding out what each other's caught and stuff, and sharing one or two ideas. So yeah, it's been my first training day today. Like I said, one of the key things for me is that I've landed all 3 carp that I've hooked, so that does my confidence a lot of good, and it just kind of reassures me that I'm going to stick with the choice of hook pattern and line and everything that I've used today. So so that's been a major plus. And yeah, I'm going to do a couple of things slightly different tomorrow, just really use that day the best I possibly can. Good afternoon everyone, how you doing? We are actually in the sunshine, as you can see. Over my right is Mr. Wotton, just chilling, facing the wrong way. He's got his shades on though, but he's taking his cap off. It was a little bit chilly this morning, but as you can see the sun's broken through. It is 12:30 of the final day of training here in Spain, and it's really nice to be sat here in a t-shirt, to be honest. We're a little bit further up now. Yesterday we were in E section. Today we're up in we're up in A section, which is obviously the end section. I think I'm on peg A15. And we've been fishing, or I've been fishing now for about an hour and a half, something like that. And it's really hard, it's fishing hard. There were some early fish caught. I think I was the last one to get fishing, to be fair, just because I was sorting some kit out and that, just getting things right. And there were a few fish caught before I even cast in, which led us to believe it was going to fish really, really well. Most of them were Carasio, but there were odd carp in there as well. But obviously when the venue's fishing like this, you just want to get some bites initially. But as the days progressed, really from when I started fishing, it just seemed to switch off. Now there are some of the lads trying different things out, so they started off obviously catching a few fish, and I know part of that reason is that they're trying things out, which is exactly what training day is all about. However, when we've switched back to trying to get bites, then it's just switched off. Nobody's getting any bites. Having said that, I've just had a great big pull. That's the first indication I've had on that long line. I thought the fish was on. It's not on. But basically, up to now, I've been fishing just coming up to 2 hours now. And I've had 1 carp, 1 Carasio, and I've lost a carp as well. But when I reeled in on that, there was a big scale on the hook, so it was obviously foul hooked anyway. So they're the only 3 bites I've had, with the exception of that one that I've just had there. So what we've got today is we've got a different format today. Basically what happens is at 2 o'clock, we are all invited to go back down to the headquarters. It's the fishing school where they normally have the draw, and that's where they put on free drinks and paella for every competitor. So if this sun stays like this, it's going to be really nice. When we head down there, you haven't got to go there, it isn't compulsory, but I'm going to go down there with Dad, and so about 10 to 2, something like that, we're going to head off down there, and we'll spend about 3/4 of an hour down there, just because it's a great place to see all the competitors, obviously have something to eat, and then when we get back here it'll be 3 o'clock. And then we've got the rest of the day. You know, you can carry on fishing if you want, or you can just focus on getting your gear right for tomorrow, which is the first day of competition. So it's very slow at the moment, very different, but like I said, the conditions are different as well. I'll just switch the camera around just to show you what this section's actually like. So this is my peg. If I just zoom out a little bit. Now it's narrower than yesterday. Yesterday it was about 46 metres. That was the line that we were fishing. However, here it's 10 metres narrower. It does look narrower, but it was deceiving. We didn't think it was as much as that, but that's what it is. And that's looking up the section now. So we're looking, that's Paul at the next peg, and then the next one down in the red shirt is Mark Morris, and then the next angler to him is Jay Minter. And that's looking down A section, back down to A1. Okay, now last year we were actually pegged further down. The last angler there is actually on the match pegs, but further down there where there aren't any anglers there purely because that's not pegged. It's not going to be in this competition, so obviously nobody really wants to practice on a stretch that's not actually in. So it's peg 2, miss 1, peg 2, miss 1. That's the format for this competition. There isn't any wind. There has been a bit of a breeze every now and then, but at the moment it's flat calm. I'm swinging around to the right now, and that's looking to the higher numbers of this section. Next peg, like I say, is Rob Button. Next angler to him, next one down in the blue shirt, is his dad. And then there's a bit of a gap, and then further down there, with the next set of steps, just before the bend, is Frankie Giannicelli, Lee Kerry, and Mick Viles. They're practicing there. And then I think just round the corner, that's where Steve and Phil Ringer are around there. That's what I've heard anyway. I haven't been down there. So it's a very different kind of a day. And it's amazing how many bleak there are. Now let me show you this. Okay, so that's my front of my rod. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick in a couple of maggots and watch this. How about that? There are literally thousands and thousands of bleak. Just do that again so you can see them, how many there are. There are thousands there. But obviously this is a feeder competition, and you wouldn't be able to get the required weight of those fish. But it's looking as though there are areas where it's going to be a little bit harder. There we go. Got a nice Carasio for you to have a look at. As you can see, if you're not familiar with that species, caught that one on 3 maggots. Yeah, they're going to be nice little bonus fish in between the carp, but in some areas I think they will prove quite important. So I'm going to get this back out there to see if there is a fish waiting for me, but that was definite bite, you know, it was a definite pull. And then I'll have a check-in with you down there when we're having some paella, just so you can see all the other competitors whilst we're having something to eat. And the sun stayed out for us, which is brilliant, as you can see. These are all laid out. Usually the tables are kind of grouped in a way, so it might be for each nation or each country. Right over there is where the paella is. Everyone's just coming in now, it's 2 o'clock. Dad's here ready for something to eat as well. And we all can also have a drink. In this middle bit here, in these buckets here, I would imagine are some refreshments. Let's have a look. There we go, all on ice. We've got beer, water there, Coke. There's usually an option of a beer. There we go. But let's get some food. And this is what we're here for. Look at those. There are actually 4 of these. There's 2 there, and there are 2 more on the way. And I might sound a little bit biased, but I've got to say it's probably the best paella. The 4 all together, it's got to be one of the best paellas I've ever had. But this is a really nice part of the competition where all the competitors can come here, have a little bit of a social time. This is the main time when you might see all the competitors for the first time. So we're just going to chill out now for half an hour or so before we get back to the fishing. But this is just a really nice friendly part of this international competition.
We want to inform you that finally we'll have 59 anglers for match fishing distributed in 4 sections and 115 anglers for feeder fishing.
Back at the peg now. I've got to admit that paella was absolutely beautiful. Just a couple of cans of Coke for me, that's all I had. Dad had a beer, why not? He's on a holiday after all. The sun's still shining. We're back at the peg now, it's just gone 3 o'clock, so I'm really just going to fish it out now for about another hour and a half or so. Try a couple more things out, and then I'm going to have to head over to the tackle shop. The tackle shop opens at 5 o'clock. So I've just got a couple of last minute things to get for tomorrow, and then I'll be back to the hotel. Just tie up again a few hook lengths like we do every evening, and then we'll be dining about 8 o'clock, and we'll definitely be in bed early tonight. Looking forward to tomorrow's first day of competitions. So just a few seconds to outline the format. We're going to be competing over the next 3 days. We're going to be competing in sections of 23, and the lowest section points over the 3 days will be the winner. If there are a tie, or there is a tie on points, then it will go to weight. Now, as you can imagine, the current climate that we're in at the moment, they are actually for the first time, certainly whilst I've been fishing this competition, going to be drawing the pegs for us, just to try and stick the best they possibly can to COVID regulations and obviously our safety as well. So we're here in the hotel. This is one of the function rooms. This is the room where the presentation will be on Sunday evening. And as you can see behind me, they've got a list of competitors. They've already drawn for the match fishing competition, which is the float fishing side of this event. Now they draw first, because as you can imagine, when you're pole fishing, waggler fishing, slider fishing, all that sort of stuff, you need more time to set up than what you would do if you were feeder fishing. However, being said that, we've got loads of time to set up even for feeder fishing. So the draw is going to be 8:30, which is in a few minutes time. They're going to be drawing the pegs out for us, and as soon as the draw is over, they will be posting the results of that draw onto Facebook. So that again means that even if people don't want to come into this room and witness and watch the draw, they can still get access to their peg number, so they know what they've drawn without gathering here. They could be off having breakfast, or they could even, you know, head off to the venue. So we're going to have loads of time. The drawing at 8:30. As soon as the draw is done, which won't take long, there are 115 anglers. We are not fishing until 12 till 5. Those are the match times. However, these are as close to international rules as you're going to get, and that basically means that you're not allowed into your peg or onto your peg before 10 AM. So they're going to draw here at 8:30, and then we've got until 10 o'clock to actually get up to the venue and get into the box. So it's loads and loads of time. So for me, I'm going to film some of the draw for you, and then I'm going to head upstairs, go and get some breakfast with Dad and the lads, and then just have a nice steady drive up to the venue and get ready for getting into the box at 10 o'clock. So obviously I'm hoping for a good draw. It'd be great to get off to a good start, but like I say, they're drawing the pegs for us, so we can't blame our drawing hands on this occasion. So as you can imagine, there's a bit of a buzz today. It's very exciting. So we're just hoping for a good peg, and I will check in with you once I get up to my peg at the venue.
Daisy Harrison. E8.
E8. I quite fancy that. I think there's a few fish there. I'm not saying it can win this section, but there's definitely some fish in that area. So I'm just going to quickly grab some breakfast and then get up to the venue. It's about 11:30. We are due to go in at 12 o'clock, and as you can see behind me, it's flat calm. There isn't any wind whatsoever. I'm down in E section. E8 is my home for day one of this competition, and I fancy it for a few fish. I've got to be absolutely honest with you. It's by no means a standout flyer, and it's certainly not an M peg. It's E8, so it's 8 pegs in from E1, which is up there on the edge of the bushes. But I fancy a few fish, you know. If there's one section I'm more familiar with, it's this section. I've drawn in here, in this section, more often than any other section in this competition. I think it was last year, I think I may have been in this section all 3 days. So I am familiar with it. However, the biggest change we've seen this year is the amount of weed that's down the edge. Now, you might not be able to see too much now, and that's because we are first day of competition, but some anglers have been practicing on here for 3 days, some of them, some more. So as you can imagine, in that period, a lot of this weed has actually been thinned out. Lots of the anglers have used weed cutters, so it is much more thinned out. However, the bits that are thinned out are really the bits that you can see. So it is quite deep down there, so there's still, we can just see the tops of weed there, but it does go down a long way from there. So we're hoping that's not going to be an issue as regards landing fish. But obviously, we've got to think about getting a bite and hooking fish in the first place. So I fancy it for a few bites, I'll be honest with you. This is the peg. I'll show you the peg in a minute. And to give you an idea of scale, I've clipped up about, I'm quite tight across. It's probably 2, maybe 3 meters off that other bank, and that works out at exactly 37 meters. So that gives you an idea of the width and how it compares to some of the other stretchers. So the section stretches right from peg 1 there, right the way down, just past the bend. This section doesn't go as far down as it has done in the past because of the way that they've pegged it. So usually the end peg would be right down there, However, this time it's right here, just coming out of that bend, or right in that bend, which is the widest point, which is where I drew in this competition last time. So as regards standout areas in this sector, you just got to fancy the end pegs. End off, that is it, you know. I quite like that area where it's widest there. When I have drawn there, we've caught a few fish and been possibly top 3, maybe always top 4 in the section. So when I've drawn there have been some fish there. I don't know if there are always fish there. So that is an area where I would have fancied drawing. But where I am here, you know, I do fancy it for a few fish. So let me just show you the peg, just to give you a bit of an idea of what it's like. We've got parking right behind the peg. I've already got the casting mat in, so that's all pinned down and everything. I'm going to be going up and over the top today. Sometimes on these pegs, your feeder and everything is that side of the wall, but it's quite tight here to the wall, or the way that I cast and where I'm going, I'm much more comfortable going over the top. So this area here is where my rig is going to be. So that is just to stop my rig getting caught in this grass, and if it does clip it for any reason, if my cast isn't quite as good, then hopefully it's not going to get snagged up on anything. All right, that's the idea of the casting mat. And there's my peg down there. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rods set up. So the nearest one to us is the feeding rod. So that is, I think it's a 2.5 pound test curve. It's a specialist barbel fox rod. That's basically just a feeding rod. If I just come around this way. And then the other rods are, I've got a 13 foot pro distance set up. Okay, that is for the short line. The idea behind that is that 13 foot should hopefully give me a better chance of getting fish up and over this weed, or give me a better chance than a 12 foot, you know. It's only a slight detail, but it's something I think that can only help. Okay, and the other 3 rods are 12 foot X Pro, or the distance rods, and they are all clipped up for fishing right across there. And the reason for that is because on this inside line, I'm not clipped up. So if I did have a breakage or anything on that short rod, or sorry, on the 13 foot rod for the short line, then I can quite easily pick up any of the 3 12 footers and just drop them there, because it's the same sort of rig. And because I'm not fishing to a clip, it doesn't really matter about the range, because I'm just, you know, underarming it on that line. I've got the bait brolly up, as you can see. That's obviously for bait protection and everything. The sun isn't something we're going to be protecting against today. If we just work ourselves down these steps. Alright, but obviously the bait brolly helps as a bit of a shield as well, if you do want to protect, you know, from prying eyes, because you have got a high wall there that people walking the bank can see what you're using. If you do, you know, if you've got any secret baits that you're using, you don't want them to see what you're using, then the bait brolly is good for that. But it's going to involve sticky mag. I've got some ground bait mixed up as well. And yeah, it's just going to be a case of, I don't really know what the target is here. I mean, a realistic target here, 5 carp I think would be great. But obviously there are Carasio here as well. So it's just going to be very much a case of, once again, just feeling your way into it and seeing what's happening around you. Obviously on a venue like this, you can see easily what's happening left. All 7 pegs to my left, I can see landing nets going out. And to my right, I can actually see right down the section, but I will be facing to the left, so I'm hoping I'm not looking that way at all. But yeah, there's just a bit of a breeze coming on it now, and they have forecast some rain. So it's just going to be a case of just feeling your way into it and see what happens around you. But you've got to have a starting point, and today I will be starting right across. So it's the first day of competition. Obviously you can't win it in the first day, but the last thing you want to do is really crash out. It'd be nice to get a great result to start off with. So that's the section behind me. It's all about section points. I'm seeking a section win. We are up against them pegs, but that's always the case. And you know, you can't do anything about your draw. That's the peg I've got to fish. So whatever happens, I'll be giving it everything. Well, fingers crossed for a good start. Well, we're just a couple of minutes before the off. This is being fished to just about all international rules. So we get a 10-minute pre-baiting period. So we're fishing 12 till 5, but at 10 to 12, we get 10 minutes to feed our swims. We can't put a hook length on during that period, but it just gives us a chance to set our lines up, and then at bang on 12 o'clock, we'll go in to fish. And then it's for 5 hours. 5 minutes before the end of the match, we will get a hooter. There will be a signal that goes down just to tell us there are 5 minutes left. And any fish that we hook within that period, in order for them to count, they can be in the landing net, but they've got to be out of the water. They've got to be clear of the water by the final 5-hour signal. So that's it. So I'm going to set my lines up those 10 minutes, just nice and steady. I'm not going to put too much bait in, and then I'm going to start across and look at having a look on my short line, possibly after about an hour. But I'll have a look what's happening elsewhere and what's happening on my swim across there. I'll put 3 feeder fulls in on that long line. What I'm going to do now is just set up this short line. Like I said, I don't expect to be going on this line for a while, but that does depend on what's happening around me and how many fish I can actually catch on that long line. So I'm not going to fish this clipped up, and that's just so that when I'm fishing it I can actually set the drag, because if you're going to hook any carp on this line it can be quite frightening. The more like takes as though you're fishing a method feeder. So I'm just going to put a couple in on this line just to set it up. There's no rush. You get 10 minutes to put your bait in, and when you're only putting a couple in on this line, I've actually got 6 minutes left. So there's no rush. I can give those maggots a chance to break down out the feeder. And then I've just got the hook length on ready for that first cast. You can see quite a bit of weed down there already just by feeding. We know that's going to be an issue, but hopefully there's going to be some fish there. Three casts now, not had a sign. That fish on my left is the only fish I've seen caught in the section up to now. So it's still early days. Just going to stick across there for this first hour. And at least if I'm not catching, at least it's building up a bit, you know, a bit of bait out there. We're off the mark, no white tape. It's only a Curacao, but very welcome. I've been in 7 minutes. But a good bite as always. Nearly pulled the rod in. Just seen one more fish caught. That's right on the end peg. That was a carp, right down to my left. I've only seen 2 fish caught, plus mine. Another Curacao. Huh? Yeah, Curacao. Baby. A baby. Bambino.
Well, we are an hour and a half in and it's incredibly slow. The sun's come out now, back in my t-shirt, It's quite warm actually, it's still flat calm, as you can see. It's very, very slow, there's very few fish being caught. I've seen a carp caught on the end peg down on E1. Two anglers to my left has got a carp. The angler on my left has got a carp. The angler on my right has a Carasio, and then the angler on his right has got a Carasio. And then I think I've seen another Carasio caught further down. I've got two Carasio now. I've had one long, one on the short line. However, out of the 4 rods that I got set up this morning, 2 of them are already out of commission, and we're only 90 minutes in. I've lost a full setup across on my long line, and I've lost a full setup on this short line. I've had a period of funny indications on my short line with sticky mag, and I don't know if they were bleak. Personally, I think they were Carasio. I did catch a Carasio during that period. I didn't connect with a couple of fish, but they were just tiny little rattlers and stuff, but there were definitely some fish there, but I didn't connect with any, and it's gone dead now. So I'm just going to fish this one out for another 3 or 4 minutes, and if I don't get anything, I'm going to put another big feeder full of bait in on this short line and then cast long. It has had a rest long, so it'd be nice to pick a fish up there, but whilst I've only got 2 Carasio, it's up with everybody here. I'm obviously behind these 2 carp on my left, but not hell of a long way, because they're not really big fish. So I'm just wondering where the fish are going to come from. I've got a funny feeling that this middle period is just going to be rock hard, and it could be all about that last hour, that last 30 minutes even. And if that's going to be the case, I've just got to kind of keep my cool, set my short line up, and hope, you know, I'm going to have a run later on, or 1 or 2 fish later on. But at the moment, I'm in it, but there isn't any sort of pattern. All the fish have been caught just randomly. So I'm going to fish this out and then have a cast long and see if we can nick one off that long line. That's first cast back across. It's snagged up again. It's just solid. Some breaking. That's another setup gone. Oh dear. There's 3 setups down, 1 left with 3 hours to go. I'm on to my last rod now. I've just re-clipped it up. I've come back 2 meters now, so I'm gone 2 meters back just to try and, yeah, I'm further away from that bank. I've gone left and right, I can't find a clear spot, so I've got to come back. So I'm sacrificing being close to the other bank just to be able to fish. I don't want to be sat there with it in a snag. I've got to be able to fish. There's just been a big carp caught down to my left, about 6 pegs, but it doesn't count because his up length is less than 50 centimeters long. So that fish won't count. But that's the rules. So I'm going to go back out there now. 2 meters shorter. I haven't seen any more fish caught. So whilst I've only got 2 Carasio, I'm not really falling behind, but I'm not gaining any ground either. So just going to have to try and be sensible, rotate lines, and just try and pick off any fish I can. If any of them turn into being a carp, then that's going to be a bonus. But I'm just going to have some quicker casts now. Just going to try some 3-minute casts, just for 3 or 4 casts, just to try and stimulate a bite, anything. But it looks like everyone's in the same boat at the moment. We're exactly halfway now, 2.5 hours in, and that last hour and a half has just been horrendous. I've used all 4 rods now, and I've had to set up 3 more since then. I'm down to 1 rod, and I've set this one up 3 times now. I've just had to pick a spot. I'm about 3/4 of the way across now. I haven't seen any fish caught on that line. I haven't caught any fish on that line either during practice. But if that's the only place I can fish, at least I've got a rig out there. I can't find a spot along that far bank. You know, I'm not saying there isn't one, but all I'm saying is I can't find a clear spot along that far bank, and I've lost that many setups now as well. I've lost the leader, the feeder, everything. So obviously every time I've lost one, I'm adding to the problem out there. The only good thing I can say is that nobody's catching anything. And the lad on my right's just had another Carasio, so he's got 2. The lad on my left still got 1 carp. Next one down, I think he's got a carp, but he might have a Carasio as well. And that's it. I've not really seen any other fish caught. It's just so frustrating when I don't know how much time I've spent now just not fishing because I've used all my spare rods up. But so the only good thing really is that no one's running away with it, not here anyway. So I'm on a line now where I haven't seen any fish caught on it today. I haven't seen any fish caught on it in practice either, but it's the only place other than my short line where I can fish, where I've got a rig out there, so that's all I can do. So I'm obviously focusing and keeping that short line topped up. I'm going to keep dropping on that. We've just come up to halfway. We are expecting things to change, as hard as it is. It'd just be nice to get a spot I can fish now and just feel as though I'm kind of building something, or you know, I'm in a position where I can catch a fish or two to either keep up with these carp lads down to my left who have caught carp, or just put a few Carasio in the net. So I'm just hoping this spot I've got here, I think it's clean. This is my first cast on it, and I'll just rotate between that one and the short line. Just try and keep cool about it. You know, it's easy to lose your temper when it's like this, and I've lost quite a few feeders. Well, I've lost 7 feeders now already, 7 up lengths. So I may be paying a visit to the tackle shop after the match tonight, and I'm also going to have to reset up all my other rods as well for tomorrow, so that's what I could do without. So yeah, I'm just going to get my head down now and just catch whatever I can this, you know, this second half. No, you're joking. Come back 2 meters now and I'm snagged up again. Oh, what's happening here? Gone. That's it. 4 rods down. I'm gonna have to sit and set a rod up. Oh. Just spent 10 minutes setting that rod up again. First cast, straight into another snag. That's 5 now. Oh, this is ridiculous. Picked a brand new spot that time. I went to the right by about 3 meters. Gone. It's another setup. Well, that's 5 setups now lost. I've just got to come back and find a spot where I can fish. I'm sat here, I haven't fished now for 20 minutes, and I can't afford to not be fishing. First cast back on that short line, went straight away, but obviously on a small fish. It's the first bite for ages. Really feels like if I'm going to do anything today, it's going to be on that short line, whether it would be with a few Carasio or if I can snare a carp, but just got to keep going. Tethered on something now. God, what else is going to go wrong today? Only Carasio, but it's caught up in some line as well as all the weed. Oh, come on. Come on, break free. No, Carasio's gone now, and now I'm attached to the line. Absolute horrible day. Was a carp. I've no idea if it's still on or not. It's just gone solid now. I just ran, you saw it, and now it's just gone solid. That's first cast back on that line, having rested it on that short line. I had a couple of little indications. I thought they might have been Carasio. But that's definitely not a Carasio, and I've no idea if that's even on. I don't think it is. I think that's just shed. I don't know. There's no sign of it being on. Oh, and if I've got to set up again, I just rested that line. I cast on purpose for 15 minutes somewhere, knowing I wasn't going to get a bite, just so I could rest it. That's just solid now. Carasio gone. I lost that one carp, which just, as you saw, it took a bit of line off the drag and then just locked me straight into a snag. Nothing I could do about that. I didn't know there was a snag there. That was really frustrated because I really needed that one. There's been very, very few carp caught, and then I've lost those two Carasio, one in the weed and the other one on that tethered leader or line that I lost previous. You know, amazing things that can happen. But there's 30 minutes left. I think the only place I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a bite or get a fish is going to be on that short line. However, by plundering it, it's just, you're just not getting any response from it. And the only time I have had a response from it is when I've rested it. So whilst I'm pretty sure that's the only place I'm going to get a bite, I've just had to come off it. I've just put another feeder full of bait on there, and I've gone back out into open water on this line that I clipped up earlier, just to be fishing somewhere. I really don't expect to get a bite where I am now at all, but it's just resting that line for 10 minutes or so. So hopefully when I do go on it, there's going to be a fish on there, whether it's a Carasio or a carp. And then obviously if there is, the key then is going to be to landing it. But the last half hour of the day, so it's 4:30, running up to 5 o'clock, this can be the best time to get anything on that short line. But like I say, half of the issue is not only getting the bite, it's getting the fish out, but that's what it is. So that's where we are. The lad two to my right, I think he's got about 4 Carasio now. Lad on my left still got 1 carp that he got first cast. Lad on my right, he's got 2 Carasio. I've got 5. And there's very little happening, but to be honest, I definitely need at least 2 or 3 more Carasio, I think, to get decent points, and definitely a carp. But you know, I can't do more than what I'm doing, so I'm going to give it 10 minutes on this. If I don't get anything, I'm going to drop short on that short line and hope that there's a fish or 2 settled on that bait. That's it. Definitely more frustrating than disappointing. Ended up with 5 Carasio. Lost that good carp and 2 Carasio. It's not going to be enough to get me top 5 or anything like that. So really disappointed with that. And the rain's here as well now. So yeah, I've got lots of prep to do tonight. I've ended up, I've set up 12 times today. I had 4 rods already set up, and I've set others up as well. I even lost a rig with 9 minutes before the end, but I quickly and hastily set another rig up. hoping I might have snared a fish last chuck, but I never had a bite. So yeah, I've got 4 rods to set up. I've got another 12 shot leaders to set up as well. So I've gone into my spares and at least another 12 up lengths as well. And I've lost 12 feeders. So I thought I'd be going straight back to the hotel to go and relax a little bit, but that's not the case now. So I'm going to have to get packed away now. I was going to stop on the bank and set my rods up for tomorrow. I'm not going to do that in the rain. So I'm going to get the car loaded up. I'm going to have to drive. It's about 10 miles that way to the tackle shop. Because like I say, I've lost 12 feeders today, and they're feeders that I need. So I'm going to have to go and buy some feeders and then get back to the hotel and then start on my hook lengths and stuff. So yeah, really disappointed. I'm guessing I must be the lower half in the section. I don't really know how it's fished, to be fair. This bit here hasn't fished very well. But 5 Carasio, I think it's going to be bottom half, which is nowhere where you want to be, you know, especially on day one. So yeah, I'm going to get packed away before everything gets wet and crack on with this evening's duties. Well, they've actually weighed 2 kilo 100. I'm not sure if I'm surprised at that or not. They looked a lot smaller when I weighed them. I think from that end there, that's about a third, I think. There is an 8 kilo down on the end, which we expect that to be alright. There's a 2.6, and there might even be a 2.4. So already it's looking like even just one of those Carasio is going to be costing me points. Just one of them Carasio probably would have got me 2 more or 2 less points, and I think it's going to be like that all the way down. That lad's just got 1 Carasio at the next peg, but the next one along he got 2 in 2 casts at one spell, and then he got 1 just after that. I think he might have 6, but that's what it is now. It's done. Can't do anything else. I'm going to get packed away now and get up to the tackle shop and just try and kind of prepare and reset for tomorrow. Well, it's 7:30 and here are the results. They're already up in reception. Absolute brilliant organisation for everybody. Lots of competitors here now relaxing. So, sectors. So I'm just going to give this a quick rundown for you. That is the whole of A sector. This is a video, so you can obviously pause it so you can see the weights and points. Sector C, it's everyone there. Sector D. And then Sector E, which is the sector I've been in. And as I feared the worst, it's actually a little bit worse than I thought, to be honest. My sector has actually been won with 11 kilo 681 on E22. E18 was second, E23 was third, so there's obviously been some fish at that end. E19 was fourth, and then E2, which is the other end of the section, which has been down to my left, and then E20. You can see the weights there. All right, now my 5 Carasio ended up weighing just 2 kilo 140, which where I wasn't too bad, to be fair, but unfortunately that's put me on 17 points out of the 23, which is a terrible start. But if you do look at, I've just noticed the peg numbers actually, I've been on E8. Okay, so this angler was 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th in the sector. Just look at the split of pegs. I've been on E8, 16th was on E6, E7, E9, E5. It looks like that's been a bad area. E4 as well, and E3. So according to that, it's not been a great area at all. But obviously we're always counting our lost fish. And for a top 10 in that particular sector, I would have needed 3 kilo 600. So it has fished really hard, even though there's been some good weights here. That area there looks as though it's been rubbish, but there's nothing you can do about that. That's, you know, that's your draw. So very disappointing start. The overalls, that's really going to put me down on the overalls. We'll have a quick look at those now. These are on the next board. Thank you. Cheers, Clive. So Marvin is winning the competition so far with 20 kilos 548. Okay, and that was from sector B, B19, just to give you an idea, so that's 20 kilo. So that is going to put me way down. So that has put me right down here. Look at that, terrible position, 81st. 2 kilo 140, 17 points. That's a terrible place to be right now, with all those anglers behind me. And I think we need to mention that there are zeros here, so there have been some blanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There have been 5 blanks. Yeah, there's been a few blanks there. So from my own personal point of view, that's the worst start I've ever had to this competition. And like I said, there's not a lot I can do about it now. All I've got to try and do is get my kit ready. I'm heading back up to the room now because I've got about 30 minutes to tie a few more hook lengths. Just check those shot leaders, sort my rods out. I've done some of my rods, and then just kind of roll with it. Just pop this light on. Just kind of roll with it, you know, try and wash it off and go down and get some food. Have a nice hot meal. Just try to reset and just get ready for day 2 tomorrow, where I'm obviously hoping for a better draw. It's been a really disappointing day. However, I did manage to avoid the tape. In this competition, if you fail to catch, you get the tape. And this is day 1's tape giving ceremony, to give you a bit of a taster for what it's like. Here we go, day 1, the white tape giving for everybody who didn't manage to catch. Not a great place to hear your name read out. E22. That sounds much better than yesterday. I think that threw up a bit of a weight yesterday, so I'm going to just go and get some breakfast now. There's certainly no rush, and then I'll check the results from yesterday, give you an idea about how that area fished yesterday, and then I'll see you down on the bank. How you doing, everyone? I had to film this for you. We are 9 minutes before the pre-baiting period of day 2 of the Iberian Masters. You probably can't hear a word I'm saying, but I'm doing this anyway to give you an idea of how windy it is. Well, it's 5 minutes to pre-baiting on day 2. you can probably see if I move my head, sunshine. The sun's out, we've got blue skies. The reason why I've got the camera angle that it's at is because it's incredibly windy today. I've drawn a much better peg. I'm down in the same section, E sector, but I'm actually on peg 22, which is second from end peg. This peg produced 11 kilos yesterday. I'm obviously hoping for that kind of a weight today, but obviously I'd love to win the section as high as I could possibly get after yesterday's disaster. I'm going to switch the camera around now just so you can have a look up the section, and the wind will affect the speakers. So that's looking right up the section. Yesterday I was up on E8, which is right the way up there. Okay, I'm here on E22, which means there is only one angler to my right. On paper, you've got to fancy this much more than yesterday. I've got a cast across there. There are some trees overhanging, and the range that I'm going to start at is 40 meters, which is about 3 meters off that other bank. I'm doing that just being a little bit cautious. The lad that's on E23 on the end peg to my right actually drew this peg yesterday. How about that for a pair of draws? But he says he lost a lot of tackle over there yesterday, so I'm starting off 3 meters away. I can try and go nearer if I need to. However, I think the most interesting fact for today is that he weighed 11 kilos here yesterday on this peg, but he only had one carp. All the rest of his fish were actually Carasio. Now, as you know, yesterday I caught some Carasio short, and I think there were more there. I just couldn't fish it very well because of the weed and the rocks. I think in hindsight I fished it a little bit too close. So what I'm doing today is, I haven't got quite as much weed in front of me here today, if you see. Okay. But what I'm doing is, I'm going to fish clipped up at 12 meters. So I've gone a little bit further. I'm going to fish a slightly smaller hook with Carasio in mind, but I'm keeping a strong line on just in case I do hook a carp on that line. And I'm fishing clipped up, so that 12 meter line I'm actually putting it in for Carasio. I've never done that before, but I'm going to do it. And obviously I'm hoping to target carp further across. So that's it. So we've got 10 minutes to pre-bait, so I'm going to feed my lines and then get stuck into that far line, and hopefully it'd be nice to get an early carp. Got 10 minutes to feed. I'm just going to leave that out there, let that empty. That's not the best feeder for emptying sticky mag. It's the best feeder for getting out there. Give that a couple of minutes to empty, bring it in. Then I've still got a good 6 or 7 minutes to feed my short line. Well, we're just 20 minutes in. I haven't had a sign yet, no bites. The lad on my right on the end peg, he's not had a fish yet. On my left, he's just had 2 Carasio in 2 casts. Next to him has just hooked a carp, and then the next one, the other side of him, has just landed a carp. So I'm hoping those fish aren't just there at the moment, but on this end, these 2 end pegs here, we haven't had a sign yet. So there were 2 caught there, but there's been 2 Carasio caught at the next peg. So obviously we're only 20 minutes in, I'm still on that long line. Those 2 carp look like they were good fish as well. He's just playing one now. 2 anglers to my left, and the lad with the umbrella up, he's just had a carp. Just going to keep doing what I'm doing. Keep those maggots going in on that long line. Those lads are casting across. All the fish that have been caught have been right across, so just going to stick with it, keep those maggots going in. taking over an hour. Not a big fish. It's a Carasio. Means I avoid the white tape. Well, we're 2 hours in, and yeah, it's just got a little bit more interesting. It's I'm now on 5 Carasio now. I've just hooked and landed a carp, which I never thought I was going to see. As soon as I hooked it on that far bank, it's kited round to my right, and there's a big bank of weed here. It snagged me up for a while. I was a little bit patient with it. I'd got strong gear on anyway, but I was just patient with it. I thought I'd lost it, you know, I thought it wasn't on, but I managed to coax it out of the weed with a bit of persuasion, and managed to land it, so that's obviously a really nice bonus. I went back in again, 2 casts after that. I got a Carasio, so that gave me my 5 Carasio and 1 carp, and I've probably had 4 casts since that fish now, and I've just hooked a carp and lost it on my long line, and it hasn't broke me or anything. I had it on for about 30 seconds. It made a run for the other bank, and I had to give it everything I'd got, and I thought it had broke me, but it hasn't. You know, I've just pulled the hook out, so I don't know if it was hooked right or not. It was as soon as the feeder went in as well. It was a bite straight away. We'll never know, but it's showing me that there's 1 or 2 carp kicking around out there. So there's 2.5 hours left. There's half of the match to go. That line looks like it's obviously where I need to be spending all my time, but I am keeping that 12-metre line topped up. I've only been on that line once and I didn't get any signs, but even my Carasio, I've come on that long line, and as we've now seen, it looks like there's 1 or 2 carp over there, or a chance of 1 or 2, so I've got to stay out there, just keep doing what I'm doing. Now, scaled down on the feeder. I've gone down to a slightly smaller feeder, so I just felt that I might be feeding a little bit too much, and that's why it was taking longer to catch a Carasio. But I've had a better response since I scaled down. I'm not saying that's the reason, but that is true. I've had a better response since I scaled down, so that's it. I think the lad on my right on the end peg, I think he's just netted another Carasio now. He must have at least 5 Carasio now. Lad on my left, he's still on, I think he's on 5 Carasio, he's not had any more. And I think there's been 1 more carp caught about 3 pegs to my left. So what I've got is doing well here, but I've no idea what's happening at the other end of the section, so I've just got to keep going on this. So obviously if any carp come along, try and make sure I land them, but that looks like it's the only line to be on at the moment, but I'm going to keep that other line topped up just in case. We're just coming into this last hour, and just kind of, I've got 7 or 8 Carasio now. No more signs of any carp. The lad on the end peg, he's been sneaking Carasio in. He's obviously fishing a different way from me. It looks like he's using ground bait of some sort on that long line right across. He keeps sneaking Carasio. And I've got a feeling he's got more than what I think, because I haven't been looking that way, and because of this wind you can't hear everything when people catch fish, so I've got a feeling he's doing pretty well. Lad on my left, I think he's got 5 or 6 Carasio now, and then other than that, all the anglers to his left, I haven't really seen any other fish caught, or seen or heard anything. Certainly no action from carp. I've just, obviously I lost that carp. I've got 1 in the net, but I'm really hoping, obviously, I'm either going to latch into another carp or 2, or the Carasio are going to keep coming. But I've got 7 or maybe 8 now, which is okay. It's doing well here. I've just topped up that short line again with a big cage feeder full of sticky mag. And if this continues the way that it is, how it's slowed down now, as much as I have got confidence in it, I can't just sit on it when I've got this other line to try. So if this doesn't, you know, if I don't get anything on this in the next 2 or 3 casts, then I'm going to have a drop on that short line and hope that there's going to be some fish there. There's not long left now. The lad on the end peg, he's gone on his short line and straight away he got a carp. Not a huge carp, but he got one. Massive bonus. That definitely brought him up level with me. And now, 10 minutes later, he's gone and hooked another one on that short line. This one looks a much bigger fish. I haven't seen any more fish caught to my left. I haven't had any more. It's just completely gone dead. I've had a look at my short line. No signs. So when he caught that carp, I decided to refeed that short line with 3 big feederfuls, with a view of going onto that looking for a carp instead of a carasio. I'm just going to go on that looking for a carp with a bigger bait on. And that's going to be his second if he lands that. And that's his second on that line in a short space of time. So it shows that there are 1 or 2. I know he's on the end peg, you know, that might be why he's caught them, but they might be in front of me, I don't know, but I've fed it anyway. It's giving him a good battle, that one. Looks like a really good fish. But I just can't get a bite anywhere now, even long now, just with maggots on. No signs of carasio or anything, so I'm just going to stick on this line for a bit longer, just try and catch anything out there. Then that last 30 minutes I'm going to be dropping on that short line, see if I can find a carp or 2. That's it. Very disappointing. The last hour and a half, 2 hours, has been a complete waste of time. I've ended up with, I think I've got 8 carasio and 1 carp. There's no wind in here, I'm obviously in the car now. I've ended up with 8 carasio and 1 carp. Obviously, you know, I think I could have had a couple more carasio, possibly, if I picked up and hit indications. And obviously that carp I've lost would have made a big difference, but that's it. So it's been a very annoying day really, because we expected, at least being on a peg like this, to have caught a few fish, even if you didn't win anything. But it's not been like that. Even today has been really, it's been hard work. Lad on my left has ended up with about 5 carasio, I think he's had. Next one along, he had 1 carp and maybe a carasio, and so it's not fished very well at all. This lad on the end peg, you know, that is going to be a standout weight today. So that's it. I'm going to go and get packed up. It's obviously not going to be my year, but you know, I just hope that I'm going to have a bit of an easier day tomorrow. You know, it's just, you know, I've had a few fish today, but it feels like I've really had to battle for every single fish, and it's, you know, you don't want it to be like that. You just want to set your lines up, you want to be able to fish them, and hopefully just get a few bites and enjoy your fishing. But it's been a battle all the way today, and I didn't expect that from this better draw. So there we go, I'm going to get packed away. The good thing is I haven't lost loads of kit today, so I can literally head back to the hotel tonight. So this is a video, obviously, so you can stop and pause it. I'll go through nice and slowly for you. Sector A, just running right the way through Sector A for you. Sector B, lots of names on here that you know. There's even the nice touch of the flag there, just to show you their nationality. Sector C, Sector D, and then once again the sector I've been in, Sector E. There we go. So Jose, who's been on my right today, he ended up winning the section with 13 kilo, Peggy 23 as you know, for 1 point. Francis has been second, fantastic, Lost Unlaw Francis. Fish for Ireland, he's a lovely bed and breakfast over in Ireland. He's been on E11, he's had 9 kilo.
which net puts my 6 kilo, it's actually 6 kilo 300, not 6 kilo 100, 6 kilo 300, and that's given me 7 points. So that's obviously knocked me up the leaderboard a little bit. So that is the whole of Sector E for you. So let's have a look at the overall standings. So there are your leaders now. Marvin's out in front, 2 section wins, so that's 2 points. Fantastic 29 kilo total. We've got Jose, who's been on our right today. He's also on 2 points, so there are 2 of them on 2 points, 2 section wins. Timo's in third, then Ralph, and as you can see, if I pan down there really, really slowly, you can look at those, but obviously you can pause this anyway as it's a video. From the English contingent, Mr. Wakeling has moved up to 10th overall. He had 6 points on day 1, and he's had 2 points today, putting on a total of 8. So that is your top 13. Yours truly jumped up a little bit. That's put me on to 24 points. Better than yesterday, but still not quite good enough. So that's it. We've moved up the leaderboard a little bit. It's been nice, obviously from points point of view, to have a great day tomorrow. But it'd just be nice to finish the trip on a good weight, you know, so you're finishing on a high. They're paying out the top 30. I'm not in the top 30 at the moment. So that's the target now, after those first 2 days. A13. Gotta admit, it doesn't mean a lot to me. We're gonna go and get some breakfast now. Have a nice relaxing coffee and some breakfast with Dad, and then we'll have a drive up to the venue. And I'll show you the peg once I get there, but on paper, doesn't mean a lot to me. Well, that was a cracking breakfast. Really enjoyed that. It's been great every morning. I've just checked the weight boards and everything from yesterday. Unfortunately, the peg I'm going to, I think there was 10 grams off it yesterday. And the peg on the right, I think there was 20 grams off that peg. So looks like it's an hard area. So it looks like the main mission is going to be just to catch a fish. But we're here at the car now. Everything's good. I've got the bait and everything. We're ready. So we've got about a 15-20 minute drive up to the venue. There's no rush. We can't get in the box until 10 o'clock. So the mission is going to be just to catch a fish, and I don't think the wind's going to be too strong, but it is a little bit narrower up here where I'm going today. So I'll see you down on the bank. There's the peg, a little bit narrower than down in E section where I've been the previous 2 days, but it's there's a little bit of wind going left to right, as you can see, and there isn't as much weed down the margin here as what we've seen in the last couple of days, but we're expecting it to fish very, very hard. We've got Rob at the next peg. Rob Regas, fellow Englishman but lives in France. So yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be expecting too many miracles today, but we're allowed in the box at 10 o'clock. It's just 5:02 now, so I'm going to start getting my gear out of the car and get set up, and then I'll give you a quick check-in once I'm set up. It's about 36-37 metres wide, simple as that. Okay, all open water, but we don't know what snags are down there. If we look straight across, there's a bit of an old tree there, as you can see. Yeah, it's pretty much straight in front of me, slightly to the right. And then you've got a gap just to the right. They're almost like brambles there. They do overhang slightly, you can't get right to the rocks. And then to the right, you've got those very, very tricky overhanging branches, which overhang quite a long way. And as you can see, they're moving quite a lot in the wind. They're very difficult to fish against. But I won't hopefully be going that way. They're quite high off the water anyway. So I'm going to be going initially into the spot just there, in between that overhang and that there. I don't want to go too close to that because who knows what's under the water there. The clear spot is about there. We're fishing for a bite, and obviously any more than that, anything, you know, that we can, obviously if we can catch and then move on from that, then, you know, that's a bonus. But we've just got to try and catch a fish. So as you can imagine, you know, it's all about getting that first bite.
And as you know, if you've been following this story so far this week, particularly with this venue, it's not only a case of getting a bite, it's actually landing the fish as well. Well, that's it, the 10-minute pre-baiting. Just going to put a couple in on that short line, and that's it. And I've got 10 minutes to do that, so there's certainly no rush. Felt like it was caught up on something. That's the first cast, not had a sign. That did feel like it was caught up a little bit, but we'll find out on the next cast. Carasio caught 3 anglers to my right. Only a small fish, so somebody's off the mark. First snag of the day, second chuck. Brilliant. Oh man, I've got my feeder back that time. Can't chuck to that spot again. There's just been a carp caught 2 to my left and a Carasio caught 3 to my left. I'm going to have to cast for a different spot now. Bad for second cast, is it? Yeah. No tape. Yeah. Well, that's it. Been fishing 45 minutes. That was first cast on my short line. Yeah, it's a fish, isn't it? That was the target, get a bite. Well, we've been fishing an hour and a half now, just over, and it's very, very slow. We expected it being slow. However, the lad that's 2 pegs to my left, 2 anglers to my left, he's doing by far the best here. He's had 2 Carasio, and he's also had 2 carp as well. All 4 fish have come from really tight across. It's about a metre from that other bank. I think the lad on his left's got 1 Carasio. Rod's not had a bite yet. I've got 1 Carasio. The lad on my right hasn't caught yet. The next angler along hasn't caught yet. And then the next one along from him, he had 1 Carasio really early on. And that is it. It's really slow. The wind's dropped. Feels like the pressure's changed. There are thousands of bleak down the edge there coming up. And it's very, very quiet. But it's quiet on the bank as well. So every time anybody does catch anything, then we can hear within 5 pegs because it's so quiet. But we're not hearing anything now. It's just gone completely dead. I've just had that 1 bite. That was on the short line, just out of the blue, really positive pull. And that's it. I've just been rotating quite frequently, actually, more frequently than I have done this week, between this short line and my long line. Just thinking that if the fish really are cagey, then just trying to rest it for a few minutes and then dropping on and hopefully getting one. But I haven't had any reaction whatsoever. I'm not going to change anything, you know. I'm not going to put another line in the middle or anything like that. I'm not going to go chasing it. I'm just going to stick with what I've got. The gear that I've got on is strong enough to land a carp if I do hook a carp. But obviously, you know, I keep putting 2 maggots on and 3 maggots on just to see if I can catch a Carasio. But it's just a case of just keep doing what I'm doing. Don't try to push it too hard. Whatever that lad's doing, 2 anglers to my left, he's obviously doing something very different. I can see his feeder. He's putting sticky mag in the feeder, and he's casting a metre from the other bank, but that's it. You know, I can't see his hook bait. I'm too far away to see his hook bait and stuff, so I'm not quite sure what he's doing different. You could blame the peg, but I'm not going to. I think he's definitely doing something different, or he's got a different hook bait on or something. But so I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. We're not even halfway yet, so anything can happen. It's that bad, I've even got time to eat my sandwich whilst I'm fishing, which has been the first time ever. It's very, very slow. I haven't seen any more fish caught. We're bang on halfway, 2.5 hours in, and virtually nothing's changed. There haven't been any more fish caught to my left. I haven't had any more bites, but the lad on my right, who's tried everywhere in his swim, he's found a carasio, a small carasio, and that's it. No, I haven't seen any other fish caught to his right. So it's completely dead now. We have, however, heard that they're catching down there at the other end on those early pegs. We've heard the catching down there, but that's it. That obviously doesn't make a lot of difference to us here. So I'm back across at the moment, and I'm literally just inching my way further and further across to that other bank, just trying to pick off anything, just trying to get a bite. Rob on my left has just caught a bleak, so he's avoided the blank, but it's very, very difficult, how we expected. And even the lad that's got the 2 carp, 2 anglers down, who's got 2 carp and 2 carasio, he hasn't had any more fish either. So there's not a lot we can do other than what we're doing, you know, just keep going. We're obviously hoping it's going to improve as the day goes on. So it's 2:30, we're fishing till 5. That's about the most uninteresting update I've ever given you. But that's how it is. It's fishing very, very difficult. Well, we're into the final 2 minutes, and absolutely nothing's changed. We haven't had any more signs whatsoever, just 1 bite, 1 carasio. The lad 2 along, 2 anglers along to my left's done brilliant. I think he's had at least a couple more fish, just fishing in different spots. I don't know why, but he's obviously done something different. I can't blame the peg, but whatever he's done, he's got it absolutely bang on. Past him, I think there's just a couple of fish, and I haven't really seen much past that, to be fair. On my right, he's got 1 carasio, and then next one along has got 1 fish, and then next one along has got 1 carasio. So you get the picture. Very disappointing, obviously, but like I said, when I drew this peg today, my priorities changed. It was all about just trying to get a bite first and then hopefully catching, and thankfully I managed that. But they've just come up to 1 minute left now. I've just spent the last 20 minutes across under that other bank. I haven't had that 1 bite from that carasio on the short line. That was in the first 45 minutes, and that's the only bite I've had on that line, the only indication. And across there, I haven't had a single sign. I haven't had a bite, I haven't had a line bite, absolutely nothing. So we're just coming up now to the last 30 seconds, so I better pick up just in case there's one on. And that's in a snag. That kind of sums up the week. What do you reckon? If you pick up with 30 seconds to go, it gives you 30 seconds to wind it in like mad and get it out of the water, and that's just locked up in a snag, which I think kind of sums up the week, doesn't it? Oh dear. Let's get this broken down. And there's the final whistle. Well, not the most exciting live match I've ever filmed, but I hope that you've enjoyed the week as a whole, or the 5 days, just following me through this competition. Everything about it's been absolutely bang on, except the fishing. Unfortunately, that's what's let it down, and I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I'm sure you can make your own opinions about how it's fished. But I've got a bit of a mission now. I've got to get packed away because we've got to get back to the hotel. I've got to pack my kit away in a fashion that it can go straight in the van, because the van will be setting off in the morning to bring all our gear home. Mark Morris will be driving that home again with Jay Minter. So I need to get packed up. I've got to upload a video to the Fishing Life channel, which I know you've all been following. Thank you very much. and then we've got to get back to the hotel for the presentation and a meal tonight and everything. So I'm going to get packed away, and obviously I'll be giving you the full rundown of the results, and I'll give you a little bit more of a summary as well.
How about that, baby? Very, very welcome. 400 and odd grams. It's been a challenge. It's definitely been a challenge. So there we go, everybody. Sector A. Okay, so this is a video, so you can pause it wherever you wish. This is a full rundown of all the pegs in Sector A, which is where I've been. Sector B, full rundown there. Sector C, all the anglers there. These flags here, in case you're wondering, are the nationalities of those anglers. Sector D, full rundown there for you. And then finally Sector E, which is where I've spent the last couple of days. Full rundown there for you. And if we move over to the overalls, I'll go through all these for you. So the winner is Marvin Schubert, absolutely fantastic, 4 points. Jose is second, who was next to me yesterday on the MPEG. He's finished on 5 points. And then I'll just continue down the list for you. This is running through the top 13. There we go. I'll run through these for you as well. I'll quickly pan through them for you. Like I said, this is a video, so you can pause it where you wish. So for those of you who are into your statistics, for analysing, it's all there for you. Over to 40th place. Full run through down to 52nd, 53rd. There have been 115 anglers here. 66. Running through. And then the last part of it is 79 onwards. Last two sheets. Some really big names. Really suffered one or two big hits. That says a lot about how it's fished. And that is it. That is all your stats. Well, we're back in the hotel. And as you can probably see over my shoulder, this is the presentation. We've just had a meal and everything. The results have been done, and this is the presentation for the winners and all the framers as well. As you can see, all of the competitors are behind us, and we're obviously going to be congratulating all the winners. And you know, it's Sunday evening, and this is just kind of finishes off the event where, you know, everyone just comes together, congratulates each other, claps the winners. And yeah, there's going to be one or two surprises. Some of the leaders going into today that we thought had it sorted, some of them have blanked today. There have been some really, really big name anglers who were blanked today, and it just shows you what kind of a tough venue this is. They're just about to start now. Just sit back and enjoy it. So there you go, everyone, your top 20. 20th place. Bring up. 17th place.
Cheers, Captain. Captain. Amen. Oh, no, you're interested now.
Lee Kerry. '15th place. Jimmy Minter will be setting off at 4 o'clock in the morning with all our tattle with Mark Morris, setting off back through Spain into France to go and get the ferry back to England with all our gear. 10th place. Got all the English, most of the English contingent here. There's Matt, Mark, obviously Dad, Graham. All the English lads on the row. 9th position. If you can't remember who lots of these people are at the end of this, presentation, I've actually filmed all the full boards for you so you can see every section from today and every single competitor through to 115. Sixth place. That award there is for the biggest fish. Jason Morris has done absolutely brilliant. He's consistent all week. He's had an MPEG today, but he's absolutely smashed it. He's got it absolutely bang on and won the zone, won the sector. That's put him in 4th place overall. Fantastic.
And now we would like to continue with the first 3 anglers in each modality. For feeders, Third position is for Francis Slagi.
Third place in the feeder competition.
Second position is for Jose Rego.
That's Jose, who was next to me yesterday on E23.
And the winner for the 16th edition of this Iberian Masters in feeder is Marvin Schubert.
Marvin Schubert, the new Iberian Master. The whole room applauding. Just 4 points, which is incredible over 3 days. And there's your top 3 for this year's Iberian Master Feeder Fishing 2022.
It's been another fantastic event, and when you consider some of the things that are happening in the world right now, it just once again makes us realise how lucky we are that we can all travel from different countries and come together to compete in this fantastic event, and I really hope we're back there again next year.